Welcome back, everybody. And as promised, I have the dynamic CEO of Pest Share, Tom Clements here. Just kidding. I got Landon Cooley here. Hi. Hi, Landon.
Hey, Tom would probably be more exciting than me, but you're stuck with me.
Well, thanks so much for joining today. And I know we've had a lot of time to get to know each other over the years. We had sushi a couple weeks ago at NRHC. So thanks so much for making time today, brother.
Yeah, man. No, it's a pleasure. Love hanging out with you on the road, and I know we haven't done a podcast together yet, so it's fun to get on here. We love NARPM, love supporting the industry, the association anyway, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so most people listening are going to be either NARPM members or thinking about joining or just into single family property management. So for those folks that may have not been to a national conference, tell a little bit about what Pest Share does. And then I'd love to hear a little bit of the story of how you guys, developed Pest Share. And then we'll talk a little bit about what the benefits are on for property managers.
Well, first and foremost, for anyone that is not part of NARPM, this is the invite to join. It'll be the best investment you've made so far in your property management company, and so we hope to see you at our upcoming conference in October, our national conference. But yeah, Past Shares, we're a NARPM official partner now. We've been involved with NARPM since we came to the national market in 2021. And frankly, our company was really kind of founded amongst NARPM property managers. Actually, Melissa Sharon, now they're our national president this year. She's a longtime friend of mine. I met Melissa, gosh, at least probably almost 10 years ago now. Her and Jim, her husband, and back then, my co-founders Justin, Tom, and I, we owned just a traditional pest control company here in Boise, Idaho, where we live, where we have a phenomenal NARPM chapter and a strong property management industry locally. And I'd met the Shrons back then, and I was just their pest control guy. I was their pest control vendor, basically. And fast forward 2018, 2019, they started reaching out because they were having a real pest control problem. They had just several different instances where they were dealing with and not just them. I mean, several of our clients at the time, things like bed bugs, cockroaches, things that were making people move out. But yet there was like a deeper issue of, I've got bed bugs. Per my lease agreement as a tenant, I'm responsible, but I don't got $1,500 to pay for bed bugs. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm not going to tell Melissa and Jim about my cockroaches or my ants or my rodents. I'm just going to wait till my lease ends and I'm going to move out and whatever. I'll lose my security deposit anyways to the carpet and the paint and everything else. There's just going to be their problem to deal with. And that was really kind of the core of the problem. Is it was just this annoying, technical, ugly pain point alongside also, was this upcoming of resident experience, resident benefits, and this desire to include more value in the resident offerings. And they had a real initiative to try to figure out how can we include pest control in our resident benefit program. And so, fast forward to today, through the years, what we've developed is a very low cost pest control resident benefit offering that is what we call on-demand pest control, and we've built out a whole technology platform. The best way to think about it is like Uber for pest control. Your tenant has a subscription. When they have a pest issue, they go right onto our platform, request service, and quickly, within a matter of a couple of days, receive professional pest control service. And in most cases, the cost of the subscription, the cost of the treatment is all taken care of through our low cost monthly subscription that's included in your resident benefit program and paid every month, typically by the resident. And so it's a real win-win. The residents are getting pest control for sometimes 70% cheaper than industry standard offerings. The property manager is making significant ancillary revenue off of our product, but best of all, we're reducing churn, we're increasing NOI, and making your properties a place where people want to stay and live, and give them a healthier environment, place they can enjoy by proactively handling pest issues through our technology. And so this kind of jumbled a story and where we are today, but I will just say that we're the only company in the space, in the world, that has developed a technology-based pest control offering for rental homes, and that's totally where we're laser locked.
So you basically taken a traditional service-based industry, right? So in the old time, before Pest Share, your resident would contact your maintenance team. The maintenance team would then try to push it back onto the resident because in most cases it's a resident type challenge, right? It's not an owner responsibility. It's a resident responsibility in a lot of cases, not all, but in a lot of cases, in most cases. And then what you're saying is if they have a big enough issue there and they don't have any money and they know it's going to get pushed back on them, they just move out, right? Or they won't renew.
So yeah, like so we have you know hundreds of thousands of units on our platform at this point across let's say we have markets in 46 states. So we see what tenant landlord law is and what how pastoral is handled across all different types of management companies, different asset classes, you name it. And typically pest control is the tenant's responsibility with some exception. And then the other thing we find is this that the industry, rental homes, the demographic tend to deal with certain types of pest problems, and they are the most expensive pest problems and most impactful pest problems. Again, think cockroaches, think bed bugs, think fleas, rodents. Those are the type of stuff that we really deal with the space and the things we really care about. Because as a property manager, you probably don't care if they got a spider. Like if 10 calls you and says I have a spider, you're like, get your shoe and kill it and you'll survive, you know? But and rarely do we see just insane infestations of spiders or beetles where their life is truly, you know, their health and wellness is in jeopardy. But these other things, that's a whole nother story. Like if I was a property manager, I don't want cockroaches, like German cockroaches infesting all the appliances, especially if it's adjoined to other units. Like that's a gift that just keeps on giving long after that tenant's gone. And so just like you said, traditionally it's this tension of I'm a tenant, I have a problem. I typically don't know if I'm responsible or not. I kind of like am hesitant because I think I might be. I call the property manager, and that's where kind of hell just breaks loose. Like you're now either arguing with them to get them to take care of it, or maybe like really rarely the property manager just sends one out to take care of it. But usually, even when that case, they're going to backbill you for it. We see this in multifamily all the time. Oh, just take care of it. They tell the pastoral guy, and they just turn around and backbill you for it. And in all these cases, we're talking about pastoral expenses from hundreds to even thousands of dollars, which just and I think the rule of thumb we've learned is if it's under $100, tenants probably like cool paying for it, depending what it is. Over $100, they can't afford it, and they don't have that cash just readily available. And so that's what that's kind of the ballpark, the arena we're playing ball in here.
Yeah, so you literally just took out the friction between the property manager and the resident because now the resident can call anytime. They bypass the property manager with this product, and then a pest control guy comes in, knocks it all out, and the property manager is none the wiser. Is that
Yeah, so high level, you sign up with Pest Share. You know, if available, we'll do an API integration with your property management software. We have you know, several we've built, several we're launching. So we're actually able to actively manage all of your door data directly right in our platform. Our team can log in and get it with restricted access if for some reason we can't do our API integration. And then yeah, and there we can monitor which doors have Pest Share, which don't. From there, we help you incorporate the benefit into your lease. Every time a tenant signs a new lease or renewal, we activate. And then from there, yeah, every time they have a pest problem, all they do is come to Pest Share and they can do it right on their phone. We can build an integration with your maintenance landing page. I mean, really, there's several options to just make this as frictionless and easily as possible. And we set it up in a way where you really don't have to be involved from there. If you whatever, yeah, they got termites, let's say, and they report it, that red flags, and our client success team is going to reach out to you and let you know, hey, they said they got termites. It's not necessarily covered on the plan they're on. That's really your problem. Flip side is, you know, they've got spiders. We don't want the property manager getting bugged with stuff that's not that big of a deal. We'll give them options and they can pay for it themselves. And then of course we have kind of the pests we typically cover in the middle where it's just very streamlined, very smooth. We get them right to a solution and we get service in any case fast and effectively without the property manager's involvement.
Got it. So I was actually going to ask about termites because termites typically is the owner responsibility, not the resident responsibility. And so if they call about termites, then you're letting the property manager know, and then the property manager can create a ticket, and then they can send it back to you guys, but they're going to take the bill. Is that kind of the right deal? I can handle all of that.
Yeah, you got to realize that we have a whole team dedicated to managing a nationwide vendor network where we have multiple vendors within single markets, even per zip code, with on our platform. And Their job is to drive highest quality cost at the fastest speed possible for the best rate possible. And then they track post-service satisfaction. So like we feel very confident in our ability, no matter what the pest control problem is, we have a connection to the best solution possible that hits all those main marks. Yeah, like as property manager, you want to run around and like deal with that yourself. Sure, we could just let you know you might have a termite problem, but the reality is that our clients want us to just handle that for them. And so this is actually kind of one of the exciting things we've recently released, or is thin testing coming out, about to be released, is our full marketplace, where any pest issue, wildlife, termites, things that are typically the landlord's issue, we can capture that through whoever reports it. We can leverage our vendor network for best price, execute service, payment, everything straight through our platform, and we can do that ultimately on your behalf as a property manager. And so it is meant to truly be a very integrative one-stop for all things pest control that involves the property manager is really as little as they want and little as they need to be.
And if it's over a certain threshold, you guys will reach out to the property manager. And if it's under a threshold, you guys can just take care of it based on whatever the property manager wants.
Yeah, our whole system works on NTEs, just like property managers typically do. And so there's definitely some level of customization there that we can set up on the back end. Even stuff like we can get very granular. Like take Colorado. Colorado and tenant landlord law specifically calls out bed bugs as landlord responsibility. So we can take specific, yeah, we can take that, because again, the goal is to reduce effort. And so we can set up on the front end and say, hey, let's say you're a multi-state company, let alone a single operator in Colorado. This branch in Colorado, here's the pests that they're covered for. We just want to have taken care of. Here are the things we're going to notify the property manager about. Here's all the things that the tenant's responsible for. We'll offer them options directly to pay for. And then, yeah, like bed bugs, we just make sure that goes in the landlord bucket. And we can, help you stay in the clear in that regard.
Awesome. And now, so if I'm a resident, do I have to call somebody, or I just go online just like I would with a property manager, and just enter in a work order, and then your team would just handle it from there and contact the right people or do whatever needs to be done based on your onboarding call?
Yeah, it's just ours is a mobile ready online web application. You just go straight on your phone to access it. It's very smooth. You go on typically, and something to note too in this is our platform is agnostic to the user. Typically it's the tenant. They're kind of the typical end user, but maybe you're a property manager, you're doing a turn and you find cockroaches in the place. You can get on our platform on your phone right then and there. You plug the address in, and that's what we're matching on the back end. But then we take you through what we call like a self-guided pest control inspection. We call it Pest ID, and we're taking pictures. We're helping you nail down exactly what pest you're dealing with, asking a few key questions to gauge how severe the infestation is. And then from there, yeah, it creates a work order out of that. That zip code matches to our best provider in the area, and we roll forward. And so we have some integrations we've built. Some of our larger clients have actual like proprietary software with like the maintenance coordination piece built into it, and we've built in some cool integrations. A lot of people like us to just have something on their landing page where they kind of funnel everyone for maintenance, or they can just type in pestshare.com and they're away with it. And so it's a lot of options there that we set up in our onboard process to make sure it flows best for our clients' needs.
So how do most of your clients, before I get into this, I want to ask, do you have any kind of nightmare story? Anything that comes to mind? Of like, oh man, we had
Yes.
this one client. Like, what's one of the worst things you guys have had to deal with over the last few years?
It's funny when people talk to us, they talk about us like as if we like pests. Like, what do you know what this bug is? I'm like, I don't know what this bug is. Like, I can tell you, we can probably kill it. Yeah. But in that, the other side of it is, yes, we do see awful situations and where we have to figure out how to get rid of them. And oh man, the worst one. I mean, most of these stories come back to my days as an actual pest control operator. For 5-10 years, I was the actual technician in a pest control company doing property management work orders. I mean, we really have some unique experience in understanding how what this is like for all parties. But there's one in particular, and I was caught off guard because the neighbor or the house was in like decently nice part of town, 3,000 square foot single family house. Like it was actually not in the same, but close to a neighborhood I used to live in even. And driving up, other than the weeds being pretty bad in the lawns, like it looked like a great house. And I walked into this place and it was awful. Like it was apocalyptic. There were flies galore
Oh man.
because there were so many dang dead mice in the place and live mice. I mean, they were that you could tell the people living there just completely annihilated the place. You know, the carpet was disgusting. The whole place was gross. But I will say, like in the movies, you see mice. I think of that movie Mouse Hunt when I was a kid. We were watching that movie, and the mice are digging holes into all the baseboards. And there's that stereotypical thing you see in the movies. It's not really true. Like mice rarely are actually chewing holes in baseboards or into the floor. They find gaps that are already there to go through. Not this place. It had straight up holes through the carpet into the crawl space, into the
Oh,
baseboards.
goodness.
And the mice, it was just like a race. They're running through this place.
They built
And
their
yeah, I
own
mean,
maze.
then
They built their own maze.
just every bug you could imagine was in that place. Cockroaches, mice. There's as a result flies. The place is so gross. It's the middle of summer, which you can imagine the smell. And then,
Oh
but end
man.
result, we ended up catching I think it was 87 mice in this one house, and it was just I mean the amount of extermination that had to take place. It was at burn it down point in my book. Like who wants rehabbing this place? This is beyond disaster cleanup. But
Rehab, call the bulldozer.
oh man, that I don't know. I can't remember who was managing that property, but I man, use NARPM property managers. There you go. I don't think our NARPM property managers would ever let a place get like that. It was awful.
So if I'm a private manager, I'm listening to this. I'm like, okay, this sounds great, Landon, but this sounds expensive. So talk about how you guys, because I think one of the most unique things that you guys did was how you price it and how you build it into, a benefits package. So talk a little bit about what most of your clients do. I know there's lots
Yeah,
of different ways to kind of slice this bad boy up, but let's talk about kind of like the 80% rule.
yeah. 85, 90% of people when they sign up with us, they are agreeing to roll out our product into their portfolio. Now, this can be included in an existing resident benefit program, with the other different products that are out there, or a lot of our clients use this as a standalone product. Again, it's pest control. Like every market calls out in your tenant landlord law calls out warrant of habitability, which is going to refer to pest control. Like everybody has a liability here to ensure they're taking care of their properties as it pertains to pest control. And in that, it very much stands on its own feet as far as a product goes, a single line item product. And so, but whichever way works, we can easily bundle right in. And yeah, you're going to include this as addendum in your lease. And then, and typically is going to be a resident paid offering. And so, yeah, every time the tenants over the course of a couple of years, they sign a new or renewing lease, we're going to activate and we manage all of that for you, the activation process. So outside of that, our product is tremendously cheaper than traditional pest control. Traditional pest control, you're looking at $50 a month, 600 to 800 bucks a year. We have a product that's $5 per month. Our most popular product is $15 per month. And these are products these are subscriptions that are covering some of the most expensive pest issues. So that 600 to 800 bucks a year you're going to spend on traditional pest control, that might buy you some recurring service spray around the outside, but it's not going to cover you for bed bugs, cockroaches, rodents would be an upcharge. Like you go down the list of things that are really problems for property managers, and that service is not typically including that. What Pest Share does is we take, like I said, for an on-demand approach. So this is not a recurring spray around the house. Again, think Uber. I'm not going to pay to have a driver here all the time to pick me up and take me wherever I need to go. I'm going to hop on Uber for a fraction of the cost, and I'm going to get it when I need it, and I'm going to get fast and affordable. And so we use these subscriptions as almost like a warranty to say, we're going to cover these pests for you at this price point. Anytime a request comes through, Pest Share is going to pay for that service to be done. And you can make multiple requests per year, per unit. It's meant to almost kind of emulate that quarterly reoccurring service in a way, but cover you for much more extensive, expensive pest issues. And end result, I mean, we have an 87% CSAT score with our tenants. Our tenants love this because I forget I'm even paying for this as a tenant. It's bundled into my monthly lease payment, and I just had cockroaches, which would have cost me $500 at least, and I paid $0. I literally in 2 minutes made a request through Pest Share. In 3 days, the guy was out servicing and it's done. And it was so easy. And that's the beauty of Pest Share. I mean, does that tenant love you more as a property manager? Yes, because although they had a pest control problem, it got taken care of fast, which makes them, it's not about the problem, it's about how you handle it and how quickly you handle it. That's what makes you a great property manager. Problems are inevitable. And so I think for such a sensitive problem and pain point, that's where Pest Share becomes very important.
So if I was a property manager and I wanted to roll Pest Share out, most people, do they do it at at a lease renewal? And then do you guys help with that lease addendum? Do you have the language where they can go ahead and just add that to their lease?
Yep. Yeah. So your dedicated salesperson and your post sale client success person are going to totally help you with this. This is an easy lift. I know we say implementation, people squirm in their seats, and this is not one of those implementations. Usually within a couple calls, we get everything we need. In that, we're also providing you with just run of the mill language, like lease addendum language that you can implement right into your new and renewing leases. We fully encourage people to do both new and renewing leases. Again, your tenants are going to love this. This is going to really drive value into their experience. Funny enough, I rent a property right now for one of our clients. And one thing that stood out to me is I got on Zillow looking for rentals. Sure enough, there was one in my neighborhood that was one of our clients, and it had advertised includes pest control of the property. And I was like, that's cool. Like I see sometimes lawn mowing or whatever. And so it's a true valuable amenity there. But yeah, all your marketing materials for your tenants, integrations, everything we handle for you.
Yeah, so it helps getting the property leased up, right? It helps with retention,
100%.
right? It helps with customer satisfaction score, which helps with retention. So if I'm a property manager, and so I roll this out on all new leases, and then when leases get renewed, I like that. You said the charge typically is back to the resident, but I'm getting, as a manager, because I'm doing so many of them, I'm getting a bulk pricing like you talked about.
Yeah. And
I,
I'll speak to that too. If like, think of our price points advertised as wholesale rates, you have plenty of margin there to mark up. I won't throw out
that's
specific
exactly where I was
amounts, but
going. So
yeah.
is there a way for the manager to offer a great service for the owner, for the resident, and also make a little bit of money on this thing? Is that typically what you're saying?
Absolutely. And I would say it's best in class in terms of the amount of ancillary revenue you can generate off our product, while also the value you're delivering to the resident. And again, we're still living in the world of ancillary charge for online portal access. No offense to anyone that does that, but like we're getting squeezed out of those kind of benefits in this market. That's the red tape that's getting cut. So that's why I love it, and we're so supportive of others too, other companies that are bringing offerings like ours that is real value that can still generate meaningful revenue. I mean, multiple dollars for sure per unit per month, and ancillary revenue that's pure profits for you.
And it's
And then not
offering
only
value,
that,
right? That's the main thing, right? Because
oh yeah,
there's a lot of buzz going on about junk fees, right? Charging for
yep.
portal access might be considered a junk fee, but offering Pest Share, on-demand Pest Share services is not really a junk fee because you're actually getting something of value.
Don't even think about Pest Share as a fee. Think about it this way. I have a responsibility to my tenant and my owner to properly maintain this property and to provide a habitable property. That's why my lease says something about pest control. Pest Share is our way of ensuring that that is being done in the best, most affordable, most effective way possible with an industry standard solution.
And
And
it's one more piece of potential litigation that you just never have to deal with.
yeah, you're bringing clarity. You're making something that's super gray, black and white, and at a very reasonable cost. I will say this: that your rate to your resident is going to be 50 to 60% cheaper than what they would have to pay out on the market, assuming they're doing professional pests. Like we don't count the canner rate; that doesn't actually work. So, but let me throw this in there too, though, just for those that aren't in like in LA and New York, like it's thinking of major metros. You can't charge your residents for pest control, and you have the flexibility of Pest Share to go to the owner side. We even have clients that split charge this. They'll charge a portion to the owner, a portion to the resident. We can accommodate all of that. So it's there's really no restriction in any market in terms of us rolling out. The price points are palatable for whoever's going to pay for it. and we can help you get it there despite, again, whatever regulation you're up against.
So tell me when so Joe resident's been paying, he's with his lease. His lease is up. He's going to move out. He changed jobs, moving to a different city. Does that cost for that property, does it end or does it flip over to the property manager until that property is released? How does that work typically?
Yeah, so typically we leave it in place, and we do leave the flexibility. If you're going to have a property that's has a again an extended vacancy period, yes, we can come in and pause that charge for you. However, what we find is still, and this gets problem gets better with time. It's part of the intention with Pest Share, but still, you're going to find most of your pest problems when that tenant moves out, and there's just at bare minimum, again, because I don't want to detract from the fact that we're solving that problem with Pest Share, but inevitably it's going to happen or whatever. You see some ants in there and just a couple scurrying through the kitchen. It's not a major infestation, but I don't want my new tenant to move into that. Eat the $10 or whatever. Like
Right.
it's
Peace of mind.
you're still going to be profitable. Like you can have your owner pay for it.
It
Yeah.
should really
Sorry.
be a turn process, right? I mean, if you're a property manager, a turn, like when I owned Empire, it was just part of our turn process. We did pest control. That was it. The last thing you need is somebody moving in on day one and seeing a mouse or a roach or a spider or a bunch of ants.
Oh,
It's just
we're actively collecting the data to show how pest control impacts experience and churn ultimately, because and it's it's going to be a long no one's actively collecting this kind of data. We have to go find it, but it's common sense too. Yeah, like frankly, I will say when I moved into my rental here within the first week, it's just so funny. I have like such a funny experience with my own product. First week we had ants in our master bath in our garage, and I just yeah, it is like a
since you
frick.
didn't
Like
go in a portal, you went to the office and you told somebody, go to my house and right.
so funny enough though. So I told my wife, I said, you have an opportunity right now. You can get on your phone and in 2 minutes make a request through Pest Share, or we can call the office and get. And she's like, I don't want to call anybody. I'll just go on my phone. It'll take me 2 minutes.
There
And
you
so
go.
it was still like we own a pastoral company. It was still easier just to get on Pest Share, do it ourselves. So
That's amazing.
but yeah, that just you feel invaded when you have bugs in your house. It feels gross. It doesn't feel healthy. It doesn't feel clean. All those things. And so
By the way,
yeah,
everybody
it's
that ever called me at Empire Bugs always had a newborn or a 90-year-old lady that lived in. No one's ever just normal people, right? It's like I have a spider, there's spider and they're biting my newborn. I'm like, you had a newborn since you moved into that place 5 years ago.
You
You know?
hear Johnny running across the room in the back.
Johnny getting the
That
keys to his
newborn.
car. Little Johnny's old enough to drive now, but yeah, he's still a newborn. Yeah. All right,
No,
let's
it's
kind of. I want to
yeah.
flip the script here because most people, if they go to a national conference, they see these orange shoes, and Pest Share. I got to tell you, I think it was a brilliant marketing plan. And so, tell us a little bit about the birth of the orange shoes, and then how can a property manager, do something like that? Like, because it brings incredible brand awareness. Like when people see orange shoes, they know Pest Share. They think Pest Share right away. I personally like the orange Tic Tacs myself.
Oh
You
yeah.
can see here. I
You
have my
got
orange Pest Share Tic Tac
him.
right here, handy all the time. But the orange shoes is where it's at. So talk a little bit about that, like how that come to play, and then how can property managers emulate something like that?
Oh man, yeah, it's so awesome, and we've never prided ourselves as far as like me, Justin, and Thomas, co-founders of like being the best marketers in the world, but we did nail it pretty good with the orange shoes, and but it's from such a genuine place too. So it all started, orange has always been our color. We have the big neon lit LED lit up backdrop in our booth. That you've seen our booth. And but pretty early on, too, we realized like we need to differentiate ourselves, and so the orange came in, and then I had actually started buying a bunch of shoes from a brand called Noble, and which is growing more and more popular now. And there was these neon orange shoes, and I give all the credit to Tom because I saw them. I'm like, Tom, I dare you to start wearing those orange shoes to conferences. Like, man, look at those clown shoes. And he was like, "Are you kidding me?" And anyone that knows Tom, he's a big, boisterous guy. He's a big linebacker, and oh, he was all about it. And he started strutting those things around. And me and Jess were like, oh my gosh. But people loved them. They always, hey, love your shoes, love your shoes. And so we're like, well, crap, we got to get orange shoes. And then it was, our team wanted orange shoes, and then it was clients, how do we get orange shoes? And so it always had this natural flow. And for a while, we were just buying orange shoes for people and getting them to wear in the conference as well. Pretty quickly, we were like, hey, how could, like, this is a thing. How can we make this more meaningful? And we knew, about NARPM National time every year, coming out of Q3 into Q4, every NARPM National president starts stressing because they always have a goal to raise a certain amount of money for their charity. And they're always like jamming at the last minute to try to raise money for it. And we thought, how cool would it be if like we could get everybody to wear their orange shoes to broker owner and NARPM National, and we donated on their behalf, on behalf of the orange shoe movement, not so much just Pest Share. Like this is about us as an industry coming together to support a meaningful cause. And like we would totally do it, and I just wonder if people would join us in it. And yeah, that's where we've come to today. We just had broker owner. We had 75 pairs of shoes worn at broker owner, and we donated $50 per pair of shoes straight to Pat Tillman Foundation. And I think we had almost 100, or we had just over 100 at NARPM National last year, which is obviously a bigger event. And yeah, it is. It's. I just want to say that, like, yes, our brand obviously gets a lot of benefit from it, but it is such a genuine pleasure to be able to support. I mean, communities and schools last year, Pat Tillman this year, awesome, incredible charities, and do that together as a group. And that is what it is about more than anything else. And
I think
so it's a pleasure for us,
and you're
and
also
we
building a
love it.
community. You're also building you're building a
It's the
community.
best.
You're giving back, and so if you're a property manager listening to this, you
Yeah.
can do this in your own community. It may not be
Oh,
as cool as
yeah.
shoes. There is I forget the guy's name, but I heard this B1G1 concept. Buy one, give one. And so the
Oh,
concept
yeah.
is anybody that buys from you, you give something, right? And I think one of the biggest companies that do this is that Bombas. You
Yeah.
buy a pair of shoes from Bombas or a pair of socks, they donate a pair of socks. And it's very similar. At Empire, we took this idea and we uh, we partnered with a group called Camp Hope, and it's a PTSD for armed forces that were actually see in action, right? And so these guys have PTSD. Well, what we did is we donated a meal for every person that if you had a meaningful meeting with us, you didn't even sign. If you just had a meaningful meeting, and we sent you a PMA to review, we then would track it and we would donate a meal, and a meal for those guys only $5. So it doesn't have to be super expensive either. Like the $50 is great. That's a lot of money that a lot of PMs can't afford, but you can afford $5. And I'll be honest with you, we've actually had people sign with us just because of that. Not a lot. It wasn't a huge percentage, but we had a lot of people give us the opportunity as well because of that. And then a fair number of those converted. So you can take that whole concept that Landon and team is made. I mean, just what you guys did with it is just 10x it. And now
Well,
I gotta tell you, if I see orange shoes in the city of Houston, I'm like, you know Pest Share? You know Pest Share?
it is, funny stories with all of that. But I will say this. I do just got to say, we're in Boise, and we have a big, client base here in Boise. Boise State Broncos, orange is part of the color. So you go to Boise State games, and you can easily pick out the Pest Share customer because they're wearing orange shoes to the Boise State game. But
Yeah.
I will just say this to your point of, yes, everybody, I always say, like, people will ask me, like, what's a cause or charity that you're passionate about? And I always say it like, I'm all about the cause of just loving and helping my neighbor. And yes, I know there's huge organizations out there that are great and so many great causes, but the most impactful thing that you can do is just help those that are around you, whether your family, your friends, the guy you met at the grocery store, yeah, your neighbor you don't even know. And it is that sense of community that's most important. It's the most impactful thing you can yourself can do. I think what happens in Pest Share and with the Orange Shoe movement is, at the end of the day, yes, we know we're raising money for a great cause, a great organization. We don't really ever see that, what happens with that money, honestly. Like, we don't see the impact directly. But the best thing that gets to happen is us helping people come together to do a good thing together. Like us helping our neighbors in the industry come together, rub shoulders in a great cause by wearing a pair of orange shoes together. And it is by far the most fulfilling thing I've done in my career. It's just totally helps us connect in an organization. And It's awesome. I
And
I will we'll keep doing it forever. We're trying to get more associations and more people to do it, and it's just
well,
about that.
I
So
took a page out of your book and we created the Gold Glove experience. And at
yes.
our first conference that we rolled this out, we gave everybody, we had 50 pairs of gold boxing gloves. So between the orange shoes, the gold boxing gloves, and the purple blazers that everybody's wearing from Second Nature, NARPM now looks like a clown show, right?
We just need some red noses. So
Red noses. That's it. Oh,
no, that I love it. And I mean, you guys hit on such a great thing about it. Experience again is our industry gets the stigma of being slumlords, of poor experience. I feel like that's so not true. A, B, so many people are on the vendor and product management side are working hard to drive experience. And I think we need to be very aligned behind that as an industry for sure.
and the Pest Share product offers a great experience for all three parties. So to steal another thing from Second Nature, it's a triple win.
Win win win.
The
Yeah, triple win.
resident gets a great experience. The manager gets less turnover. The manager doesn't even have to worry about what's like everything is being taken care of. They can actually make a profit off it. And the owner client, as long as that property is leased by good people, they're getting a win as well. And if there is a turn, the pet share is a fraction of the cost with the yearly rate that's going on.
Yeah. I know everybody hates warranty products in the space, but like home warranty, think of like a pastoral warranty product where they actually come and do everything they say they're going to do. Like it is an easy way to think about it. And yeah, I'll throw a little shameless plug in here. If people ever want to hop on with anyone on our sales team, we've actually built out a very robust in-depth ROI calculator where we can show you the kind of overall monetary value Pest Share drives across not just the ancillary revenue, all of the operational line items, all of your OpEx categories, like everything we touch and impact. And it's a calculator. So you put in your number of units, we make some minor adjustments, and it will spit out the actual financial impact that we're going to have on your organization as just our one offering. And it's at bare minimum, it's built by industry professionals. It's very in depth, and it gives you a real picture of everything we're going to alleviate for you.
And let's be honest, when I get management fees, if I'm running a 20% profit margin, which most property managers are not, they're running less than that. That means for every dollar I'm making 20 cents. But on these ancillary fees, at least at Empire, when I own Empire, my ancillary fees, I was making about 90 cents for every dollar.
Yeah,
And
for
so
sure.
this is a great way. And again, it's a value, right? So I'm not just charging something just to charge. I'm charging something and there's value there. So appreciate what you're doing for the industry and for property managers. And we're gonna get into all your contact information. But before we do that, we're gonna take a quick commercial break and then we're gonna hit the lightning round. Are you nervous? Put you in the lightning round.
Nope.
You're not
Maybe
nervous.
a little nervous.
We'll be right back after these messages. All right, Landon, we're putting you in the hot seat, the lightning round. Are you ready for the
Let's
lightning
go.
round? Here we go. All right.
I've heard some of your lightning rounds. I have no idea what I'm going to get. So everyone know this is I've not been prepped by Pete here. It's on the spot.
On the spot. What is one of the silliest or stupidest things you've done when you first started your business?
I bought orange juice for a bunch of people. Just kidding. Oh my gosh. One of the silliest things we've done.
Or just
Honestly,
a mistake you made, just a mistake you made when you're building.
gosh. Okay. I'm gonna be for real. Like this is gonna make me this probably may or may not be a great answer, but it is the truth. The biggest mistake we made is like do too much ourselves. And I mean, you silly, stupid, like you name it, not hiring people quicker, not delegating faster, like getting in the way of ourselves is, and me especially, like my co-founders would totally attest to this. Like I struggle with micromanaging and not just letting things go. And so I look at product managers in the space all the time. They're, got 200 units and want to get to 500. They need to hire a BDR or a BDM. Like, hire the BDM. Like, you are going to waste more money sitting around, like, losing out on the opportunity than you are just hiring the BDM and failing and finding another one. And so I mean, there are so many dumb things too of like ways we've wasted money and made mistakes. I'm not trying to save myself from that humiliation. I get out of your own way and
It's a great
just
answer.
go for
And
it.
I'll ask the other question on top of that. Do you use remote team members?
Oh, 100%. Second dumbest thing, waiting for so long to use routine. So no, yeah, we've got, I'd say we have 60 people on our team and probably 60% of them are remote team members, something like that. We have a substantial amount of them. And holy moly, yeah, no brainer, the total no brainer, and some of the best people in our company for sure.
What is one piece of advice you'd give someone starting out in business?
Oh man. Uh, I would say for my role, thinking about that, uh, establish a vision and think big. Like think whatever you think is big, think bigger ultimately. And eventually you're gonna end up this place far down the road of like maybe wrangling that in a little bit, but everyone always limits themselves out the gate. And the thing that is going to drive you through the hardest freaking moments, which that first 3 to 5 years is always so bad, first 10 years is always so hard, is that vision and like and uh just unbridled conviction that you can hit it. Now, also throwing a plug for my favorite book, The Dip. Read The Dip. It'll teach you that if you do not believe you can be the best in the world, uh ditch it and go find something else. Now, that could be, I believe I can be the best property manager in San Antonio, Texas. Like, and if you figure out how to build a vision around you being the best property manager in San Antonio, Texas, I guarantee you, you can be. Like, wherever you are. There's great ones in San Antonio, but so it can be specific. But for us, like, we want to dominate pest control in the rental home space. We want to take on Terminex. Like, we have this really big vision, and man, when it's freaking awful and everything's on fire, that's what keeps us pushing through.
I'll tell you a funny story about vision. When I first started my PM firm, my vision was to get to 300 single family homes, to manage 300 single family homes.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the vision was because we heard that's when you're profitable.
Oh my gosh.
And of
Think
course, the vision
30,000, my friend.
changes over
But
the
you know,
time.
I'll be first say too, like running a 3,000 unit property management company isn't necessarily for everyone. You can have a phenomenal business at 300 units, 500 just that. There's no numbers right. It usually takes into account not just business, your personal life, your family, all those things. And there's a place where you feel fulfilled and you're happy financially, you feel good. And that's
Those are wise
where it
words.
is. And just think a little bigger.
What was your first job?
Oh, so funny enough. So I'm fourth generation in my family in the pastoral industry. One would think my first job was doing pest control. My first official job, however, when I was 15, my parents had a rule: if I wasn't playing sports, I had to have a job, and I wasn't busy enough that summer. So my dad said, "You can't come work for me. You need to go get a job." And my best friend, his dad owned food franchises, Qdoba Mexican Grill and Jack in the Box. So that was our option. You want to work at Jack in the Box or Qdoba if you want to work for me? And he made, my dad again was like, I'm not going to give you a job. So I had to go to him and link me up with this manager at a Qdoba. And I was in there cutting ingredients and rolling burritos all summer long for my first job. So but yeah, I always had a little bit of an entrepreneurial bug. I just funny little side businesses when I was a kid. And then pretty quickly after Qdoba, I started working in my dad's pest control company and, that's where I kind of dove in 17, 18 years old.
Here's the staple question. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
You know, my wife ordered Hawaiian pizza the other day, and I literally thought of you asking this question. And I would actually say yes with a lot of caveats because I do not like Hawaiian pizza. I like pepperoni and pineapple, and that's probably the only pizza I like with pineapple on it. So I wouldn't be honest if I said no because I will eat pepperoni and pineapple.
Yeah, just order the pineapple. I'll just pull it off, and then we're fine.
Hey, but I was in New York last week, and when I walked in to grab a slice, it was cheese and pepperoni, and there's no way I would touch anything with pineapple. That's for sure.
That's right. That's right. All right. What is one thing that most people don't know about you?
Oh, well, most people know I'm married, I have 4 kids. A funny one is when I was 11 years old, I got a black belt in Taekwondo. And so I also stopped doing karate when I was 12 years old. So don't like come
You
in and like
mastered
try
it.
to fight me and expect me to do anything.
Why keep going? You mastered it at 11. All right,
Yeah,
man.
no, that's my fun fact.
All right, last one. Dogs or cats?
Oh, I'm a dog guy. Yeah, I got a Bernedoodle, Remy. She's a sweetheart. We had another longtime lab, a yellow lab before her that passed away, but not a cat guy. I'm allergic to cats too, so total dog guy.
All right. If somebody wants to learn more about Pest Share, what's the best way to contact you guys over there?
I hit me up. Feel free to just shoot me an email anytime, Landon at pestshare.com. Hopefully I'm not like throwing myself out to be crucified there. But for real though, I almost every conference send out a blast email to try to meet people for 15 minutes. I There's nothing I enjoy more than talking to people in the industry and just understanding. You got 10 doors that you manage. Like I want to understand what your world's like. Like it's so helpful for me, let alone you have 10,000 doors. I want to understand what your world's like. So yeah, I'm totally email guy. Shoot me an email. And then of course, like you want to ask about a product, do a demo, whatever, just pestshare.com, schedule our demo. Our salespeople are really nice. They're not overly pushy people. Like a lot of you probably know them. So just feel free to hop on a call and just shoot the bull with us. We can talk about the industry and whatever.
All right. And if you want to join NARPM or learn more about NARPM, go to NARPM, NARPM.org, or call them at 800-782-3452. And if you are interested in virtual team members, please give VPM Solutions a try, vpmsolutions.com, or you can email me at pete@vpmsolutions. Landon, it's a great show. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Pete. It was great.